Well, that was an interesting game. I never would have thought that I'd be celebrating a draw, but I'm celebrating a draw because the team actually looked pretty good against a legitimately difficult Liverpool side. Although I don't think that Liverpool played as well as they can on their day, they still were relatively dangerous. I mean, silly mistakes from Vicario, standing in the wrong place. We all saw he stood more to one side, opposite the wall, and Szoboszlai saw that and just decided to put it where Vicario wasn't. And Vicario even got a hand to it, which tells me that he was just too far over. Had he been a little more over to the right, he probably could have pushed that out. But we went down 1-0. But I give kudos to the team because they continued to fight. And, I mean, Matisse Tell looked like he was up for it. Richarlison looks like he was up for it. The team in general looked like they were more interested in playing together than in the past. They haven't looked like anything but a Sunday League team up until today, since the new year. And I think that overall, it was nice to see Oluseyi get on the field, give some of the kids a chance. You know, if we're not going to win, at least give the kids a chance. But it was nice to see, and Richarlison, thankfully, at the 11th hour, put in a goal and sort of diminished Liverpool's opportunity to jump, I think, back up into the top 4 at Anfield. I mean, we never get anything at Anfield. We've gotten killed at Anfield. So the fact that our diminished squad got a 1-1 draw at Anfield tells me, A, Liverpool was not trying as hard. They didn't start Salah, Ekitike. They started Wirtz up front. They did not start with their A team, mostly because we have been pound for pound, and I think on paper, the worst team in the Premier League since the new year. So, and arguably before that. So I think it would be still far better than anything that we... but Liverpool is not a pushover team. Even a diminished Liverpool, a slightly diminished Liverpool, or a sort of their A- squad or B+ squad is still far better than anything that we have going right now. I mean, we had in the back, we had Porro, Danzo, and Dragishin. And Dragishin is probably worse than Dyer. And, you know, even he had an okay game. I don't know if they're pulling for this coach or if they're just pulling because they don't want to go to, you know, Wrexham next year or to Port Vale or whatever, or Portsmouth or wherever is in the championship. It won't be Leicester City. I think Leicester's going down into League One. You know, but I will take it. That gives us 30 points. That takes us 1 point clear of West Ham and Notts Forest. We're just behind Leeds. And, you know, if we can keep at least getting draws or winning and not losing, and if West Ham can lose a couple and Notts Forest can lose a couple, I mean, Nottingham Forest looked better today. I watched that game against Fulham, and Fulham looked poor. It wasn't that Notts Forest did a great job. It was that they looked poor. And they had goals called back with VAR because his nose hair was offside. So VAR is kind of ridiculous. But in this case, it was to our advantage. So I'm just happy that we're getting something out of this game. We finally stopped bleeding. Hopefully this gives our team some rise, some bounce, so that when we go in, I know we have Champions League coming up. I think we got Atletico Madrid next at home, and then I think we're going to Forest next. So it's a good thing that we've had an opportunity to draw a game, and against Liverpool, that's not nothing. And anybody that's going to say, well, they didn't play their A squad. Okay, but you can only do with what's in front of you. You can only play what's in front of you, and that's on Slot. That's not on the Spurs squad. That's on Slot. And we played hard. We've lost a lot to a little to them. We've lost big to Liverpool. So the fact that we didn't, and the fact that we were able to pull out a draw, Liverpool started to really fade towards the end. And that was even with Ekitike and with Salah on, and pretty much their A squad. So, Frimpong, they had, Van Dijk was on the field, McAllister's on the field, Curtis Jones. They had a good squad. I would take that squad for Tottenham any day. So I think at this point, it's important to stay positive, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And we have to throw our support behind the squad. Otherwise, we may as well just, call the rest of the season off and just relegate ourselves. And I don't want to do that. I would like to go down fighting. And that's just me. I don't like defeatist attitudes. And even if I think potentially being in the championship would it give us an opportunity to reorganize, kind of severely cut away at the crap, and get back down to like new skin, and to give an opportunity to grow again. I guess if we go down, that would be the positive spin, but I don't want that to happen if it doesn't have to. It would be devastating. I know it's easy when we're frustrated to say things and demand, Van de Ven sucks, Romero sucks, just get rid of them all. Okay, but right now there are better players. They, like the rest of the squad, haven't been playing well. We didn't even have them today. So, with better players, hopefully we do better. We're out so many players that as our regular A squad comes back towards the end of this season, hopefully we can grow into this. Are we severely late bloomers? I don't know. All we did was draw. So I'm not hip hip hooray, but I'm also not feeling like my weekend is ruined, because of a poor result. Again, I will take the draw and say, let's keep up the manner in which we played today and take that into the next games. Now that I've seen that this team has some fight, I can hold their feet to that fire and say, I'm demanding that you guys continue this. There is no reason now not to show this kind of commitment and aggression and fight in every remaining game.